Davis here with Stillwater Woodcraft. We're back here at the station camp, and we're getting this camp built basically. Now, one of the most important parts of any camp to me is the fire. Okay, where you're going to have the fire, the setup. You're going to do all kinds of work there, from rendering tallow and making pine pitch glue to cooking your meal and purifying your water. So, putting a little thought and work into that area is going to pay off in the long run in a permanent type camp where you're going to be using this quite often. Now, basically I packed these rocks in here because I didn't want to get any rocks out of the creek. We didn't want any, water-soaked rocks exploding on us. Now, I made this fire layout kind of rectangle shape and long, so I can basically have two fires in here, okay? So I can do something at this end and something at this end and manage the fire in a way that will facilitate doing two different tasks, and also to have some longer pieces in here to heat the shelter in the cooler weather. Now, when it gets to be cooler weather, one thing we'll do is maybe make this even longer and add a reflector to reflect heat back into the shelter. But in the spring and summer, we don't need that reflector, and it's really just kind of in the way. So we're not going to do that yet. One thing I like to do when I'm selecting rocks and stuff to make a fire ring is to have flat tops on them, so I can sit a cup or a kettle down or something to keep it warm, or just to be able to tap my bullet mold out on it, anything like that. And when you lay your fire ring out, you want to make sure, if you dig a pit, for a fire, which is fine, make sure you're not in some spot where that pit's going to fill up with water, okay? And also you want to check for things like tree roots and whatnot that can catch on fire and smolder underground and come up in a different spot and catch the woods on fire. That's a risk. So we want to make sure of that. And to place it, okay, this edge is one big step away from the edge of our shelter. So it's close enough to the shelter to be able to throw heat into the shelter, and it's far enough away to keep us from burning our shelter down, okay? So like in a rain, I can sit under the edge of this shelter and still be able to manage the fire and stuff without having to come out too far and whatnot. Just something to keep in mind, placement, convenience. You build it on a nice sunny day, think about using it on a cold rainy day. So that's one thing we wanted to do. The other thing is we do a lot of cooking with kettles, okay, and we want to need a way to hang that kettle over top of this fire. Now, short of packing a set of fire irons or something in here, we want to use natural materials. So what we're going to do is build a tripod for cooking with an adjustable hook for raising and lowering our kettle or whatever we might hang over here to cook, and we'll do that now. Alright, to make this tripod to support a kettle over our fire, what I've done is cut some saplings, okay? They're not, they don't have to be huge, they just got to be pretty strong. I cut them taller than I am, okay? Because when I had this tripod set up, if the top of it's down here and I trip and fall, I can stab myself in the eye or something, okay? So anytime I'm making something like this, I try to make it above eye level. I'm a klutz. I want to stab myself, and I know that's what's going to happen. So I just, take care of the problem ahead of time. Same thing with making spears or frog gigs or anything like that. So what I want to do is just take these three and line up the bottom and see how they want to lay together there. I got my cordage here, so I want to tie a clove hitch. So I'm just going to make a loop, past the front one, behind the back one, and that's how I'm going to start my lashing off. So I'll take 3 of these, flop them back. You can see the one here has a fork in it, I thought I'd leave that on there for tying or hanging stuff on or what have you. You just take your clove hitch and slide it over one of your outside poles here and pull it tight and drop all your poles on the ground. Then you're just going to take here and go in and out of your poles a couple passes. So basically you're just weaving back and forth between the three. Wrestle this stuff down through here. You want to keep pulling it tight as you go. Go back and forth, you know, until you got a couple passes on each one. We'll go 3 passes on each one. We got enough cordage here. Okay, now we got 3 passes on each one. So what we're going to want to do is wrap in between these poles around them passes we made. Sometimes you got to spread them out a little bit. And what this is going to do is tighten up them wraps and keep them from separating. So we're going to wrap that one, pull it tight. Come to the next one. This is something you're going to use for quite a while. It pays to use some good cordage and to take your time and make it nicely. We'll wrap that around. Get this pole good and tight. It starts getting hard to get that in there. Okay, now I got that wrapped all the way around in between there. I'm just going to come to this one and tie it off with a clove hitch. Tie it off with the clove hitch. You can trim this cordage up or leave it, you know, to hang stuff on. We're going to trim that off and make our pot hook adjustable for height. So you fold this out. You're just going to want to make sure that it's good and tight and supports stuff strong. We'll take that up there. Take our axe, trim our cordage up, and there, basically, we have the tripod made. So we'll make us a pot hook next. We'll hang it and make it adjustable. Alright, now to make our pot hook, you know, this is pretty straightforward. What I've done is just cut a piece off below a fork, cut that, and cut it up a little ways, so now I have a hook. Now you want to leave this shank long enough that you can tie your rope on here and have, you know, the pot hook being wood hanging down, so the closer to your fire it gets, you know, you're not catching your rope on fire. Now to tie this and to get it to stick on here, what we're going to do is put a couple little notches in here. So let's take our axe and cut a couple little stop cuts straight in. Okay, and then take and peel that wood back. Until we have a couple notches. Okay, like that. What that's going to do is give our rope something to catch on. Set my axe out of the way. So I got a piece of rope here that we're going to use to hang this with. Tie this on here. What I'm going to do is make a bend in the rope, okay? I'm going to lay that flat against the hook. And I want to take my tag end And down here below our notches, where we notched out, actually I'm going to give myself a little more rope. Okay, I'm going to lay that flat down here. Then where our notches are here, I'm going to take that tag in and wrap it around. Now let's do this again. Okay, I got my hook. I'm going to lay my loop over that. I'm going to take my tag end here, wrap around a couple wraps. Okay. Then this loop that we had, we're just going to stick that tag in through that loop. We can take our standing in and pull that loop through. So that loop's going to pull up. We can work all this stuff down good and tight. There we go. What that's going to do is now that rope is wrapped around there, okay, and it's going to catch in them notches and keep from sliding off. The only thing we got to do to make this functional is throw it through our fork up there in our tripod so it's hanging down. Then our upright here, and we'll do it on this smoother upright. We'll go to this upright here. This upright here, all we'll do is tie a hitch of some sort, whatever your choosing is, in there, and tie it off. So now whenever you got weight on this, you know, it'll hold. You can just loosen that hitch a little bit with your thumb and move it up or move it down. So it's adjustable. You can adjust it with your fire or your need for your heat. So tripod, great way to hang your kettle. Very useful item in camp. You can hang things up here on the top to you know, dry them out up above the fire. You can wrap a hide around here to smoke a hide. You can make a rack to fit between the legs to dry meat or anything like that out of. It's nice and sturdy. Like I said, pay mind and keep it above your head so you don't stab yourself in the face with it. And you know, it's like I said, to me, an essential item for any kind of permanent camp, or even, you know, throw one together for an overnight camp to hang your kettle on. You know, keep it from tipping over in a fire or anything like that. So, hope this has been helpful with you guys. This has been Steve Davis, Stillwater Woodcraft. Thank you for your views, your support, all your comments. We'll see you on the next one.